Allen with Insight as a Service, and I'm here today at the Women in Technology event speaking with EMC's Global CTO for Sales, Patricia Florissi. Patricia, thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
No, thank you for having me here.
Patricia, my first question has to do with software-defined. It seems to me that software-defined anything is often a code for open source code that enables use of standardized hardware. Can you tell me how EMC's software-defined storage program differs from that approach?
Absolutely. I think that if you look at software-defined, you use the word open source and you use the word standardized hardware. But software-defined storage actually means the decoupling of the functionality of the device from hardware-specific components into software. So if you look at what happened before, many of the storage devices had embedded into their design the functionality for data services such as high availability, reliability, replication, and so on and so forth, as well as the access protocol to actually use the data. And now with software-defined storage, we have decoupled all that functionality at the software layer and used more of a standardized hardware underneath. What makes Viper, the software-defined storage solution for EMC, different from what is happening in the market is that it actually provides a unified control layer and a unified access layer across EMC storage, third-party storage, as well as commodity hardware. So now users have the ability to actually abstract, aggregate, and pool all of the storage underneath, regardless if it is EMC or third party.
Mm-hmm. So does this act of separation and the ability to code and program storage requirements, does that create additional complexity for customers who may be looking to simplify their infrastructure requirements?
I actually think it's quite the opposite. Because before, if you think about the fact that enterprises typically need a wide spectrum of storage solution to meet the different needs of their different workloads, before storage administrators and storage operators, they had to learn the different management interfaces for each one of the types of storage equipments. They had to understand the intricacies of the hardware equipment. And now they have a single management layer as access control and data services layer that provides a unified interface to a very heterogeneous underlying hardware platform. So I actually believe that the software layer brings an element of complexity, an element of uniformity, and allows for automation that was not able before. It's not capable before.
Mm-hmm. I'd also like to talk about big data because it's on everybody's mind these days. Can you talk to me about EMC's approach to big data analytics? What's the way that EMC achieves the I/O performance that's needed to support management of big data sets?
Actually, that's a very, very good question, and big data is one of my passions. EMC supports the notion of an enterprise data lake or business data lake. And the idea of the data lake is that you should be able to store everything, analyze anything, and actually be able to build what you need. So on the idea of store everything is that unlike the old times where you would actually process the data and normalize the data when the data was being written in memory or in storage, in the data lake, the data is stored as it is. So that's one of the elements that allows us to keep up with the volume and the velocity that certain types of data are coming in, because we actually support a very, very vast spectrum of ingestion mechanisms. So we support real-time ingestion, near real-time or interactive, and we support batch processing. And the data comes in and it is stored in its original form. Then we support a variety of analytics methods on top of that data. We support real-time data, in-memory data or real-time streaming data analytics. We support near real-time or interactive analytics as well, and we support, of course, batch processing, Hadoop, what we are calling experimental analytics. And the third is build what you need, because the data is all located in the data lake and is made available through a variety of data access protocols. Then individuals have access to the data using whatever protocol they feel comfortable with, and they can build the reports that they are that meet their needs.
My last question is designed to serve the Canadian community. You're here in Toronto. Welcome. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
What kind of advice would you offer to the typical, if there is one, Canadian business that is looking to take advantage of some of these advanced storage technologies, understanding that perhaps the typical Canadian customer is a smaller business than might be the case in other jurisdictions?
I think that if you're talking about the mid-market, the secret of this next decade is around simplicity. And simplicity comes in many forms. One, with the software-defined world, is not just software-defined storage, but software-defined network computing and security. And when you have that unifying software layer, it becomes simpler. The other perspective is that embrace the converged infrastructure wave, where we should no longer ask our customers to spend time integrating storage, networking, computing, virtualization, management, plugging wires, trying to define whether or not the releases of the different components actually are compatible so that you can integrate. Transfer all of that risk, all of that complexity to the technology vendor, such as EMC, and engage on the wave of a converged infrastructure where you buy equipment that has been engineered as one by the vendor, that is manufactured as one. So the more equipment that the vendor actually manufactures, the more experience and economies of scale it gains in terms of testing and in terms of putting all the pieces together. That is managed as one. You call one number to actually manage a problem in the device, regardless if it is a storage, network, virtualization. So you no longer have what is the traditional war room, where you need to bring experts from many companies and within the company as well. That is supported as one, and that is sustained as one. So the vendor is responsible to check for compatibility between the parts.
Excellent advice. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you.